I booked the place. I hired my band. I wrote the songs, the arrangements, I wrote the show. I knew the light cues. I put the costume,
You did it all!
props. I did it all.
Welcome to this week's episode of Why Not Me with Mike Jackson. Our guest today is a really, really good friend of mine. Her name is Bresha Webb. And you may know Bresha from movies like Merry Little Christmas, TV shows like Marlon, Sherman Showcase, or her hit show on Stars, Run the World. But I know her as Bresha from Baltimore, just a homie that I like to kick it with and spend time with. But she has some incredible stories that she can share, some gems she's going to drop on you guys. And overall, just talking about her journey as a little girl in Baltimore and the path that it took to make it in Hollywood. As we all know from other episodes and just generally, it's not an easy path to get a job in Hollywood and make it. And Bresha's found a way to do it. And she's going to talk all about it on this week's episode with Why Not Me, with me, Mike Jackson. Hope you enjoy the episode. My dear friend, Bresha Webb, welcome to the Why Not Me podcast.
Hi.
So Garfield and Shay Webb
Yes.
on May 6th, 1984. Can I say that?
Yeah, listen, you said it. It's here.
All right, I can cut it and say it again. Shit.
It's great. I'm very proud of my age. Yes.
Excellent. They welcomed their bundle of joy. Tell me about I mean, I didn't remember the day, but
it's a pretty awesome Sunday. My mom's actually
pretty awesome Sunday. But tell me just about life, like early days, like as a young kid, Baltimore. You have siblings though, right? I can't
I have
believe
a little brother. I have a little brother.
Okay, but at this point, you're the only child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was life like in Baltimore in the mid '80s when you first came upon us? What were your family dynamics?
Yeah.
Mom, dad, obviously together. Like, what did they do for a living? Just tell me, like, the environment you were born into.
Sure. My family is just a lot of love. My parents fell in love in church. So I was raised in the church. My parents met in their choir, the A.E. Jones Singers. And, in the 80s in Baltimore and just in those Baptist community, traveling choirs was a big thing. And so they would travel and sing, all of the jams of the, Lionel Richie was at his peak, like everybody, they was singing I was raised in a choir pretty much.
Right. That explains a lot.
Yeah, it explains a lot. So I learned how to perform and how to get laughter and how to do a lot of stuff through my church experience. And that was definitely, brought to me by my parents. I was raised with love and appreciation for the art, appreciation for our faith. And my mom was a rehab specialist. So she worked for disabled people, getting them jobs. And my parents both worked with, just helping people. They had a heart for that.
Gotcha.
I
Service.
worked with service, absolutely. Lots of service. My dad worked with out-risk youth and was really about helping them as well and getting them back on their feet with the Woodburn Center in Baltimore City. So, I was raised with a lot of appreciation for what we have, but also how to give back and how to reach back and bring people forward. So that was my life, and lots of laughter, lots of love. My parents really took to me taking in the arts. My dad sang in church and he was a singer. And my mom grew up dancing. Before she had me, she was like a professional dancer. And
wow, I didn't know that.
yeah,
Okay.
she was. And so they saw how much I was a sponge to the arts. So they were like, okay, this is what you want to do. We're going to help you. So I started doing regional theater early on. I did center stage. And I remember they were like, oh, wow, well, we're going to put you in this Arena Playhouse, which is a really amazing theater in Baltimore City.
Baltimore.
And it's like all the kids in the neighborhood get together, and we're all from all parts of Baltimore City, but we come and we do a play and all of that. And the head Mrs. Orange was like, they doing a big the fences, the regional theater. They looking for Ray now. And Brescia's 8. She could go over there and get it. And I was like, my mom was like, they having all these kids from New York and DC coming. I don't know if Brescia's down for that. She was like, yeah, it's going to be like 3,000 girls auditioning. And it was on the news. And I booked it.
There she is.
And my mom was like, what did you do in there?
So, Breach, like, is all of this stuff happening in your life? I mean, I'm assuming that's what led you to the Baltimore School for the Arts.
Yeah. I started at BSA pretty early. After they saw me get that role at Right Now, and my mom was like, "Oh, she really wants to do this," and I was going to the rehearsals and everything. I started going to Twigs, which is
I was in Twigs.
You were in Twigs?
I was in Twigs. I was the national vice president of Twigs my senior year of high school, out of the Philadelphia chapter. Twigs was founded by a woman named Clara Bostic.
Oh my! I had no idea about this, Mike.
I'll be honest. I'll be lying to motherfuckers. I'm like, yeah, I was in Jack and Jill because no one knows what the fuck Twigs is.
Twigs is a big deal.
It is, but Jack and Jill always, like, nationally, like when I'm just like navigating life, no one knew it. So I was like, yeah, Jack and Jill, same thing.
Yeah, Jack and Jill is
explaining it.
I wasn't in Jack and Jill. You had to have money to be in Jack and Jill.
I was in both, but like I got into both. But my mom, we knew Miss Bostic.
Oh my gosh.
So we decided to do Twigs. I did it all throughout high school. Anyway, it's not about me. It's about you. Sorry, go ahead.
That's pretty awesome. Well, Twigs at BSA was like for the little kids. So if you had aspirations to going to the big school, which was the high school, you would have an opportunity to be, have classes with the professors and the teachers at the high school at like after school. And you had to audition and all of that, just like you would for the high school. And I took in, of course, I did theater and learned my monologues and all of that and got in. And I went from, I think, 4th grade all the way to 8th grade. And then I went into high school at BSA. So yeah, my parents were like, okay, she's an actress, but I also danced and sang and did all that kind of stuff.
All the things.
Yeah.
So BSA, Baltimore as a city, like how, and obviously family, but like specifically, I'm curious, how did the school and the city kind of like shape your sensibilities as an artist?
I mean, honestly, there's so many different people in Baltimore that you just have to be able to like play the field. Like, you don't know where you are. You could be walking outside right into the thick of something that you're not supposed to be in, or you could be walking into the most amazing artistic expression that no one would ever get to see. And that's a lot of things that I feel like people forget about Baltimore. Baltimore is such an arts mecca. We have Edgar Allan Poe. We have like so many poetry and artists. We have the Maryland Institute of Art. We have a lot of amazing visual artists that come from Baltimore City. A lot of actors that come out of Baltimore City because there's just so much like culture and so much weight to it. And so just navigating Baltimore City, I just have such an appreciation for characters. You just never know. You could go to Lexington Market and find amazing people over there. They could be crackheads now. But back in the day, honey, they
had that,
else, So, it's, and you learn this grit. You inherit this grit that you understand what comes with making yourself something, because it takes a lot to come out of Baltimore City. You got to fight, because there's a lot of
blue-collar town.
It's a hard town, but it's a lot of love. There's a lot of culture. There's a lot of people that do root for you and do love you. There's a lot of love in Baltimore City. And I feel like because of The Wire and because of all these other shows that does exist in Baltimore City. And just like any big, metropolitan city, like there's a lot of, we're right by the daggone pier. Like all that stuff comes in. Like we're affected by that. But there's also such amazing stories and such amazing just depth to the city that you just can't find anywhere else. So I take all of that with me. I was birthed into that.
I like Baltimore personally. I spent time there. Like, I
And the
think it's a really cool
food, are you
city.
kidding
The
me?
food is
Like,
great. Do they? I've never. Is it Baltimore City? Is that what natives say?
Baltimore, yeah. Baltimore
Because
City.
you're saying Baltimore City, which I think is super cool. I picked up on you saying that a handful of times now. I'm like, oh, because I don't say like Philadelphia City. So I
Oh
thought
yeah,
maybe like,
Philly. Well, I just say Philly because y'all
right.
my
But
cousins.
that's well, we're super close. But is the phrase Baltimore City commonplace for natives of Baltimore to say that?
Yeah, I mean, I say Baltimore City now that I'm here because
Got it.
if I was in Baltimore, I would say I'm from West Side. You know,
Okay.
less, like I just wouldn't say Baltimore City. But you have the county, you have all of that. So like I say Baltimore City because when I was in school, I was raised in Baltimore. Baltimore
Got you.
City.
Got you. Got you. I know like your life now and like the successes you had, but like to pursue a dream in the arts is like a scary endeavor, right?
You know,
So
I
it's
mean, a little
like
P crazy.
a
Mhm.
little crazy. I know your mom and your pops were very supportive of you. Tell me like how their support and how that belief in you and your belief in yourself led you. Cause I'm assuming like after BSA, you went to Cal Arts, right? That was kind of the
Yeah, I
next.
took a year off to make sure I wasn't crazy because when you're in a circle of Baltimore where everyone is just based in reality, everybody has a job. Like you have a job, you're going to work,
Got those bills
and
to pay.
so, right, you got bills to pay. And I really wanted to make sure that I really had my ducks lined up in a row. So I took a year off. I went to community college. I really wanted to make sure that this was something I really wanted and I could not live without because I know if I went on that flight and I either went to college or I had to do something, I could not come back home. Like I'm not
Mhm.
coming back. I'm either going and doing it or I'm not coming back.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure that was, for real. I
Yeah.
wasn't
I think
playing
that's
games
important.
with myself. It's real, and you watch the E True Hollywood, stories. Every story I watched, everybody became a drug addict and they was living in their car. And I was like, Jesus, look, we gotta have a one-on-one conversation. I'm not living in my car and I'm not becoming a crackhead. We gotta get something, give me some signs, let me know. And he laid it all out for me. So I'm grateful.
So it feels like Cal Arts was probably like the right step once you went through your process
Yeah,
and
I
you
had to
talked to
get out
Jesus.
of LA. I had to get out of Baltimore. I was like,
But you
where's
had to have a
the
place to
school?
land
I
also,
had to
right?
place a
So I'm
land.
assuming you didn't know many people, I'm guessing, in LA or
No,
right.
no.
So that gave you the perfect landing pad
Mhm.
to kind of jump in and immerse yourself. Tell me
Mhm.
about that experience. Was there any professors that you still are in touch with that inspired you? Were there any classmates that are still that are working
Oh,
that are still a part of your life? Or
I'm still really close to a lot of my friends from my college. Like that, they definitely laid the foundation. And I had no idea, and maybe because it's just the craziness of me, but a show that I did at Center Stage in Baltimore City, uh, I I worked with three of the professors,
Mhm.
and they were working there. So one of the actresses from that show, who I was like 13 and got really close to, she was one of the professors. I had no idea. The speech, the dialect coach, she also was a professor there. I had no idea. So I'm sitting in my orientation and I'm looking at Marissa Chibas and I'm like,
I know you.
Marissa, I know you. And she's like, oh my God, Bresha, like y'all accepted me and didn't realize that
That's
I
wild.
was who I was. So it was a week from God pretty much saying you're in the right place, you're doing the
Yeah.
right thing. And that kind of gave me the comfort that I needed to know that I was doing what I needed to do. And it's a very avant-garde school. Uh,
Mhm.
let's play a box. So BSA can't, it gave you, with Donald Hicken, my amazing teacher there, the head of our theater department when I was there, he pretty much, and the teachers there, they gave us all the tools that we needed to do to go right into the field because they were
Right.
working.
Right.
And
Right.
so we were working with working actors. So when I came to Cal Arts, I was ready, So they were like, okay, so we're just going to buffer. We're just going to get you prepared to do what you need to do. And I kind of, because I'm ballsy and because I have that grit from Baltimore City, I kind of made my own curriculum at some point. Like I was like, oh, y'all got film school. I need to go over there and do some shit. Oh, y'all,
Right.
what y'all doing over here in the sound department, animation? I can do a voice. Let me try to do that. All of these things that I was doing, I wasn't aware that I was also laying the foundation for what I needed to do when I graduated. That helped me.
Well, you epitomize multi-hyphenate, right? Especially within the world of artistry. I mean, you're doing animation. You've done plenty of it. Like I've seen your woman show, which I want to talk about in a second. But before we get into all that, like 06, 07, 08, I think is when you started like probably booking some stuff like State of Mind
Yeah.
and like ER. That's now like, okay, getting some recurring stuff, like multiple checks. That was the moment like you were getting paid to be a professional, like for real, for real.
For real, for
Like,
real.
what's that feel like? And is there like did you feel any pressure at that point? Or was it more joyous and like, now I'm really about to fly? Like, what was the moment? What was the feeling like in that moment?
The feeling was I'm not going to go back home because I had a job at Costco. Okay. And I
Okay.
would pass out. I was doing, I would work at Costco certain hours and I would pass out the samples and I would uh, have these little cards and I typed out like what time I was going to be on TV. So I was doing my promotion as well.
You were just handing them out
I
to
was doing
folks?
PR for myself
That's
while
like
I
street
was handing
promotion.
out some samples.
That, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
That's the hustler in
That's
you.
the hustler in me. That's the grit that I got from Baltimore.
Yo,
Gotta
I feel you
go
on that.
do it. And so I just didn't want to go back home. So I just was like, look, you gotta help me or I gotta stay at Costco. So the more and more that I started booking, and I was so grateful because I was going into every audition like this might be my last. And so it was a gratifying feeling because God was right. What he put in my heart was confirmed and
Was coming through,
it
yeah.
was coming through. So I was very happy.
And then Love That Girl was like your first like main role, like main character, series
It
regular.
didn't start off that way.
Well, someone else had it first, right?
Yeah,
Then
well, I was a secretary. It was Tatiana
okay.
Ali's show.
Tatiana Ali
It
show,
was
right?
her
That's right, yeah.
vehicle with Phil Morris and Alfonso Macaulay. And I just worked in the office. And for 2 seasons, that was the case. And
Oh, wait, not on camera, like you were just literally working
I
in
was
the
on camera.
office.
I was on camera, but I was
Okay.
I
Your
was just
character was working in the office.
yes.
Okay.
So
Got it.
anytime they came to the
Okay.
office, I was there. So it wasn't
Right.
like my thing.
Right.
It was when Tatiana Ali booked something else and she left the show, it opened up for me. And they were like, hey, the fans really like your character. We could open it up and also share the moment with Phil and you guys could carry the show. And I was like, wow, well, that's amazing. But I really wasn't taking it in.
Mhm.
I was
You're like,
so it wasn't computing that it was like your love that girl. It wasn't computing at all. I just was like, I'm about to work. I'm coming to work. I'm going to do my job. And and that's how I am. And
yep.
so I love Bentley Kyle Evans and his whole family and what they taught me because I learned so much on the fly. I learned so much. I got my comedic chops working on that show and having the opportunity to work with Martin Lawrence and Charlie Murphy, like
Mhm.
legends on that show. And
Any good Charlie Murphy stories, by the way?
you know what? I'm gonna keep my mouth closed, but he is that man. Okay, because I'm working
As advertised.
again on Meet the Blacks, and so he's awesome. I mean, he is the legend. He
He
is.
is as advertised.
Yes.
And then you just started like booking like recurs and like, you worked with Afion on his show for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
private practice, weeds, like just a lot of shit started kind of coming through for you. Grey's Anatomy you did, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now you're in the streets, you're in the grind. Now you're becoming part of the community, not the Cal Arts community, but like the Hollywood kind of
Mhm.
working actor community. Tell me about that process, just as far as like the competitiveness with your friends and, like working it, like just tell me what the dynamics were as you were kind of ascending. Um, what did it feel like?
I mean, every audition is an opportunity to show your best, just to do your best. I I I'm grateful to have amazing girlfriends and people that I work alongside and meet. Like I remember when we used to go in rooms, it was a party. Like of course,
I-
people have their, it's a competition, but we also are just happy that they're looking at us.
right.
They're
That's what I
looking
was
at they're
thinking.
looking for a black woman.
Hmm.
Okay, and I was a part of the school of they're looking for one of us, so one of us are in the room. So let's give each other
Someone's about to work.
it's about the work. Let's just support each other. Let's help each other. Let's make sure that they remember us. So if it's mine, it's mine. If it's yours, it's yours. But one of us is going to be winning. And I'm
Right.
grateful to see that a lot of the women that I was in those rooms with were all doing very well. There's enough for all of us. So and hey, I celebrate everyone's wins. I'm one of those people. I'm a girl's girl. I'm a person that believes that what's mine is mine and no one can take it from me. God has already laid the foundation for me,
I
so
was about to
I'm just going
say,
to show up and be what I'm supposed to be,
yeah.
and that's the competition for me, myself.
But that's rooted in your faith, and you're
Yeah.
blessed to have that. A lot of people don't, and it can also be a toxic environment. So at least for you,
Yeah.
you're able to kind of lean into faith and
Mhm.
and kind of navigate it in that way.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Faith, you play some wild characters, you do some wild shit, but like I'm assuming your faith is still at the core of what you do. Like as far as like the roles you choose and how you choose to portray yourself, I'm sure that voice is in your head, right? Like to some
Absolutely.
degree.
And even with, just doing comedy and, improv and improvisation, just doing impersonations, it's all from a place of love. I never want to be a person that's hurtful and if I
Yeah.
have hurt, I'm the first to say, you know what, I apologize, but it's all from a place of respect from my part because I'm studying that person as if they are the best. I want to do what they are doing. I'm going to master what they are doing,
Right.
their gift. So I come from that angle with impersonations and I've never gotten, "Oh, bitch, you made fun of me." Like
Yeah.
I always get like, "Girl, you did a good job on me. I respect it.
That's all right.
That's all
So,
right."
truth be told, Marlon, Meet the Blacks, like the little Christmas specials, like you've done some really massive stuff and the whole world's seen your talent. But with all that said, I still think one of your best performances, and I want you to sell it, was your one woman show. Can you tell me like a little bit about the origin story of that show and like how you birthed it?
Oh, well, it's just a lot of people that live in my head. Uh, but really, it was just my story from coming from Baltimore to Hollywood and the ups and the downs, the love stories and the things that happen in your life, the stories that make you who you are, you know.
Yeah.
Um, my parents taking me to my first Annie audition and saying, "Girl, you black, you can't be Annie," because that wasn't a thing back then, but I was so enamored with Broadway and wanting to be a star, and I knew that that thing was in me and I wanted to show it. And so just that little light I wanted to show, and I was like, "You know what? I want to do a show where I can just get all of this stuff out and sing my songs." And I wrote songs and worked with my band and created just a night of a special of just like, "Hey, this is me. I went through heartache. I've learned a lot of things from past experiences, even crackheads from Baltimore City, and I wanted to give that. And I love doing my characters. They live inside of me. They all teach me lessons And I'm happy to, I feel like it's a gift. I feel like every comedian is really equipped with the opportunity to teach multiple lessons to people. Like that is, if you're doing it right, you can really teach. It's another way of teaching, you know?
100%.
Yeah, and I was so happy to just lend my stories to help lift people up, to make people laugh, of course. Even think from your heart and not your pussy. That was from a real
That
place. That was from a real
was
place.
fun. It was
And
funny though.
thank you. But I had to rewire my brain and get back to what I really wanted. And that was a marriage, a loving husband, and a loving family, which I have now. So I'm very
We're going
grateful.
to talk about that in a second too. Um, you've worked with one of my dearest, and closest friends, Diallo, and
Mhm.
you've also worked with another friend and one of
You?
your really close friends, yeah, Mr. Wayans, Mr.
Yes,
Marlon
Mr.
Wayans.
Man.
I know, like, you are incredibly close to both of those humans off camera.
Mhm.
Like, what's it like just being able to work with people you love, like that experience of loving these humans so much, but sharing in this journey of artistry with them?
It's an honor. I know it doesn't happen, quite honestly, to a lot of people. And I'm grateful. God knows me because I just can't work with people I don't like. I
Mhm.
don't lie very well. I'm an actress, but I can't lie. And I'm very grateful that I've been able to make connections and lifelong connections with people that it's not just on television. It's real. It's
It
genuine.
really is.
Like Essence was in my bridal party. It's real. And so it's I
Fun
keep
wedding, by the
saying
way.
it's a gift, but it is, just to like know that these jokes are coming from a real place, from situations that actually happen. That, hey, I need to go to work with you. Can you do this movie with me? And I'm
Hmm.
like, yeah, sure. He was like, cause I'm gonna be I are you available? And those are the connections that I feel like more people need to be around, and it causes you to be healthy, and it strengthens your instrument as well because you're safe enough to strengthen your instrument.
You did
Of
that for us with Sherman Showcase. Multiple times you showed up for us and Diallo and the crew. So I
course,
love
and
that
that
so
happened
much.
from us just being on set, and he heard me like doing this, you know, playing around with Anita Baker, and I had the whole trailer laughing, and he was like, "Bresha, you doing impersonations?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I just have
Check my
fun.
credits.
I just I'm just a goofball."
Mary
But it was
J.
so funny because Diallo and Bashir and I worked together on Brothers in Atlanta, their first pilot
I
for
didn't know you worked on
HBO.
that.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I went in for Marlon and we saw each other, it was like, dog, okay,
Here we
we're gonna
go.
have a great time.
Yeah, as you did. As you did. Um, Producing,
Mhm.
writing, directing, that's a real why not me moment when you're so firmly in one lane and then you start to kind of pivot and do other things. Tell me about the general pursuits of these other facets of your artistry and what led you to kind of take those steps.
Fear.
Ha! Real fucking talk. It's the
Fear,
greatest driver,
like
right?
I've always just said I'm in front of the camera and that's my lane. I respect people that study and take serious what they do. And my husband was just like, why not you? You've been doing it.
Mhm.
You've mastered what you've done. Study it, learn it. Why not you?
By the way, your one woman show was essentially embodied all of that, right?
All of it. And I
All of
did
it.
it. I did
And
it
you
and
didn't know
I
you were doing
naturally
it.
do
But you
it.
probably didn't know you were doing it
I
at the time.
I booked the place. I hired my band. I wrote the songs, the arrangements, the I wrote the show. I knew the light cues. I put the costume, the
You did it all.
props. I did it all, and it was all in here. And
Yep.
when I finally got it out, it was such a relief. It was like a birth. I was giving birth. And so I feel like with every project that I take on, especially now that I'm going into directing and producing and I can see it from another scope, it is like you're pregnant.
Yep.
You
But at
pregnant.
least you have the tools now, though. You have
Yeah,
all
you
the
got the
tools to kind of
tools and
deal with it.
you can lean on other people. You know what you're great at. And now I
Yep.
understand what I'm great at. And I'm still perfecting that, you know?
Every
So
day.
it's
Every
every
day.
day. So it's like and it perfects everything else that I'm doing as well. You know, it's just the world of art, you know? Like you're strengthening one hand while training the other. And then you're looking around, you're like, oh my gosh, now we got this whole masterpiece of a thing that I didn't even know I could do. Like I was thinking so small. So don't think small. Like, why not you?
Why not you? And the mind and the body is an incredible thing because it's doing things that you're not even aware of until like
That's
you
already in
have
you.
to.
That's
It's already in you, 1,000%. One more thing I want to talk about as far as your work was congrats on Run the World. I mean, that show to have 4 Black women that prominently featured, it doesn't happen very often. So I'm just wondering, like, just when you got the script, then when you got the part, in the show, it must have been a pretty emboldening feeling to know that you're part of something that highlighted these incredibly intricate women.
absolutely. And also the opportunity to work with Yvette Lee Bowser, who's
Belly
the
Bowser, of
creator
course.
of, Living Single and what she did with those women and how they've impacted our culture. I wanted to be a part of that tale. I wanted to be a part of that legacy. And the script was beautiful to show 4 complex women that were very successful in their own right, their own thinkers. They could think so broadly, and they had their own opinions and they were loud, and it was and they reminded me of myself and my friends and they were sexy and I remember that year when I was going out for auditions, because I did Marlon and I can do sitcom. I can do that. And they were like, "Yeah, got this audition for you to play a mom. You could play this person's mom." And I was like, "I'm not there yet. I'm still sexy. I want to be sexy. I want to be
Hey, you can
sexy,
be a sexy mom,
twirling."
though, sis.
Thank
You
you.
can be a
Thank
sexy
you.
mom.
Thank you very much. Brave knows it. Um, yeah, but
Nick knows it.
Nick knows it. Okay, that's why
We're
And
about to get there. We're about to get there.
But, yeah, like, I still had this urge, I still had more stuff to do. Like, I love Sex in the City, and I really feel like I called that in. I really have the journals where I was like, "I wanna be in a show like Sex in the City. What would that be like? I wanna be sexy, I wanna dress cool, I wanna, like, have that energy." And here it is. And I was like, "Okay, God, you did that." I
Yeah.
literally called it in.
I fucking
And
loved it when that happened,
I
man.
love when that happens, when faith and just the universe aligns itself with where you are in life. And it was exactly where I was and what I needed. And I'm grateful for the opportunity. And those girls are my homies. We were just together
Yep.
this. So I love them.
Any future like roles or projects that you're looking forward to or something you want to put out into the universe right now?
Well, right now I am completing a movie that will take place in Italy. So
Oh,
that's
I
really
heard about that movie.
about that.
I know
And
about that movie.
yeah, I'm quite
Miss
nervous
Sumter.
about
Miss
it.
Sumter.
Yeah, with
Miss
Tika.
Sumter.
Yes.
We were on that movie for a second. I don't know if you knew that.
No.
We were the original producers on that movie.
Ah,
And I will say to everyone, like, it was one of the few times that like we got really close to getting it done. Um, and we just couldn't get it over the finish line. And we were so obsessed and in love with this project.
yeah,
But Tyler Perry, he did. And he got it. He got over the finish line. And I could not have been happier for Tika
yeah.
because I know how much she
And
put
also
into that.
seeing her in this position, and
Yeah.
it's like it's very inspiring to know that you wrote this script and you got it to the finish. Like you put all the things in in a row and got it across the finish line and linking up with Tyler Perry. This is the first film that he's ever directed and produced
That he
that's
didn't
not,
write.
so
Yeah, it's
that
pretty
speaks
incredible.
to her character and how much he believes in her and how much he believes in the project. And I'm just so amazed and so grateful to be a part of it. We did some amazing work in Atlanta already. And so we do the second leg in Italy, and I'm really excited
Yep.
about that.
Yes, you do.
I'm flexing my singing skill. And that was, like, okay, girl. So I'm
Oh,
excited for people to see that side of me. I don't think a lot of people have or even know that I can do that. So I'm really excited and I surprised myself even. So I'm grateful to be a part of that. I am also in Hacks this season. Mhm.
love,
Love.
love.
So those are really awesome people to be working with. And yeah, the sky's the limit. I really want to get back into directing again. I did a short with Kevin Hart, his company that
Who?
out Kevin Hart.
I, I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, you don't know? Oh, he's a short guy, comedian.
Oh, that Philly guy?
Yeah, he's an Eagles fan, I believe, as well.
The
Wow.
Eagles?
I
That's
think
so
that's it.
weird.
I think that's the thing. Isn't that
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
That is the thing. They
that
play
is the
football for
thing.
our city. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
He's
well,
done pretty
yeah.
well for himself.
He's
Humble
done
brag.
very well. I think he has,
Humble
like,
brag. Yeah.
more than 1 car. Um,
Like two? Two?
2,
Yeah.
maybe 2, maybe 2,
Maybe two.
maybe 2. Yeah.
Well, listen, I always like to ask like some really like random fun questions. So number one, what's your favorite curse word and use it in a sentence for me, please?
Uh, this motherfucker wanna see about me.
I fucking love it. Okay, I'm not gonna give context. The best date you've ever been on.
My husband.
What was it?
He picked me up from
This is Mr. Nick Jones.
this is Mr. Nick Jones. He picked me up from, the private jet airport with Kelly Rowland, after I had
Name
finished
drop,
helping
name
him movie.
drop,
We
name
talked
drop,
on
name
the
drop.
phone. Name drop. Yeah, we had been talking on the phone the entire time I filmed Merry Little Christmas or Merry Little Christmas Wedding, and it was my first time that I was gonna actually see him as my boyfriend. He became my boyfriend while we were in Canada. And so
You know, I remember a lot of this, right?
oh, yeah, because I called you. I called you. He was like, "I can't b I'm having a meeting with him, like, I'm pitching him, like, Risha," and I was like, "Well, he my brother, so Imma ask him if you real."
Got it. You gotta vet the
Listen,
vet.
you
You
gotta
gotta vet the
vet.
vet.
Right. He still thinks I'm insane for that, but, it's
It
like
worked out. It worked out.
worked out. But, yeah, he picked me up, and he just was so cute, and he was so nervous, and he gave me a card. I had never had
Wow.
anyone pick me up from the airport and give me a card. And I think he gave me flowers too, but it was so innocent and so sweet.
That's sweet. Yeah.
And the card was so just so sweet. It was like because I was obsessed with like Obama. Like I had been reading his book and he would and listening to his podcast and Michelle's podcast and he like wrote some really beautiful things and then a really beautiful quote from Obama.
That's gangster move.
Very gangster.
That's a gangster move.
Gangster move, and I was like,
Okay, Nick.
"Oh," and then we were
Okay.
driving to my house, and a veteran, because he's also a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
had left his, gas tank top on top of his hood, and he, like, got on the side and, was so gentle with him. He was an older gentleman, and he was like, "Let me help you," and it was just so sweet, and then we went out to dinner, and he met we just had such a beautiful day, and it was sweet. I was
Yeah.
I just was dealt and handed so sweetly, and I
Sweet
love
and comfortable and all
yeah,
that. He's a good man.
yeah.
If you could trade places with one celebrity for 1 week, who would it be?
Right now, man, Cynthia Erivo.
Woo! Just having a moment.
She's having a moment, but I've been such a big fan of hers. Her voice is so gorgeous. And I just love the way that she's embodying her moment.
Yeah.
I
I
love
met
her.
Cynthia.
Yeah.
Sorry, go you go. This is
No,
your interview. I'm
go.
sorry.
No,
No,
no.
I was just gonna say at the time, I don't remember the rep, but the reps contacted me and told me to go see this incredible young actress, Cynthia Erivo, in this play in New York. And obviously I went and it was The Color Purple. And I went to meet her afterwards. And I was like fighting back tears because her voice was so mesmerizing. Um, Became friends with her at that point. And then, she started doing the LA trips and, we were much closer then, but I got to like see her origin story kind of in LA when she first kind of started getting there and trying to pursue this thing as a film actor, screen actor.
Yeah, yeah.
And to your point, to see her now, how she's doing it, how she's done it, and she's doing all this right now with such grace and poise and like,
Yes, and
you know,
poise and
yeah,
really honoring her space. Um,
yeah,
I'm learning by watching her and her interviews and the way that she's present. And other people are laughing at it, but I am just very like, that's beautiful. Because when you work so hard and you are so present for your moment, it's a gift.
it truly is. How big is your inner circle? And how would they describe you?
My inner circle now that I'm at this big age is very small,
As it should be.
as it should be. And they would describe me as loving, maybe uh, late. But I was on time today, okay?
Until your fucking ears got all fucked
Right,
up.
my ears. But yeah, loving and committed and giving and growing. They,
Yeah.
my friends, man, my people, they love me and it's such a place that I'm so grateful for that they understand that I am also growing into who I'm supposed to be and I'm always going to be becoming and becoming. But they give me the grace of that and they love me from that place and they teach me so much. They give me so much, they teach me so much and now that I'm in this space of motherhood, I am oh my goodness. I am so indebted to their love and
Yeah,
what
man.
they're teaching me and how much I've had to humble myself and just be like, God, why have you given me such amazing people for me to now be my family? And
And I've seen you with your people. I've
it's,
seen you from like little dinner parties, like
uh-huh.
your birthday dinners and like your wedding, which was the epitome of the celebration of love. And so many different kinds of people came
And
together to celebrate you and Nick.
everybody loved it. Everybody all got along. And it was small. It was not small, but it was small for me
It
because
wasn't
I have
small.
so many friends. But
Who'd you see me with? DJ Nash, right? I was at DJ
yes,
Nash's table. I
yes.
met him and all these different people.
Yeah.
And it's just like everyone really got like the love was really,
Yeah, it's so many people that make up me and Nick, like
yeah,
our life, because he's from Alabama. It takes a lot for him to come from New Jersey and Alabama and joining the Marines and working, and being a veteran and working as a Marine for 12 years and 2 deployments and to come out and being who he is now. Like,
so
there's a
kind.
lot of people that make up who we are. So I was like, we have to honor them. This is our moment to say thank you and to show them that we're going to do something with what they helped us become.
And we partied. That was
That
that was a celebration.
was a
There's no doubt about
celebration.
it.
Yeah, we did
That was amazing.
it.
So I asked this question on every interview, um, and it's not meant to be morbid. It's meant to be aspirational and uplifting. But when your time has come and you're transitioning to the other side, what would you like your tombstone to say?
It's changed. It has changed. I used to know this, and I'll tell you what my answer used to be. She lived.
I like it, but you got a
He
different
lit.
purpose now. You got a
Yeah,
different purpose
I
now.
have so much more, you know, there's so much more life that has happened in my life. That's more than just she lived. It's so deep now. It's like she really gave a fuck. I don't
You
like
don't have to have the answer, by the way, Breesh.
she loved and she gave her all.
That's beautiful, though. It's
Yeah.
short but sweet, and it kind of says a lot.
Mhm.
And then the one thing, and then we'll end it.
She died
I know
empty.
you.
She died empty.
What? She died empty.
She died empty. I gave it all, like the term.
Oh, I
Like,
get it. Okay.
yeah, I want to be at that place in my life. I want to have tried. I want to have done. I want to have lived a life that is pleasing to God, pleasing to myself, pleasing to and honoring all of the things that I have ever wanted to do, you know?
I can dig it. I can dig it. Um, I believe in angels, and I know you lost your dad recently.
Mhm.
And me and my parents are both going down about me and my mom. And I've had these conversations with other folks on the pod. Talk to me about your angel and the conversations that you're willing to share, like just how he impacts your life now as an angel.
Well, my dad, I believe, I had a really hard pregnancy. Um,
Hmm.
and I named my daughter Brave because of it. And I I really became so aware of my father's spirit during that time. And just when she was born, and it was just such a moment of like I was grieving, but I also was like, I miss you. I know this is what you've always wanted for me to have a child and for me to experience this part of life. And I want to see you. I want to feel that you're here. And she came out looking exactly like my dad. And I was like, oh, well, here it is. Here it is.
Yeah.
And to a point that I was literally going, Daddy, is that you? Like, hey, hey, am I doing this right? So the blessing of it is that I see him every time I see my daughter, every time I look at my daughter. And just the other day, I mean, I always see butterflies, and she has butterflies all in her room. But the other day, I was having a moment and I was going past the refrigerator, and she looked at his picture in the living room, but then I was going past the refrigerator, and I have a picture, a magnet of him on the refrigerator, and she started going like this to his picture. And I was like, "You know him?" And she was like, "God, God, God."
Oh, did you had to a little bit. Yeah. That's beautiful. Well, listen, we're going to stop right there. Thank you. I love you, sis.
Love
You've
you.
always been you've always been one of my favorite people. Um, so
You are.
yeah,
And
yeah.
thank you so
Bresha
much.
Webb,
You
why not
you
me?
believed in me from the beginning, y'all.
I'm a Bresha believer. There's no doubt about that.
I love you.
I love you too.